We're following developing news out of the Middle East tonight. Sources tell CBS News that both Israel and Hamas have agreed in principle to a ceasefire and hostage deal. CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio is in Tel Aviv with more.
CBS News has learned from U.S., Israeli, and Arab officials that the draft for a ceasefire and hostage deal has been agreed to in principle. And if it all carries on smoothly, then Israel and Hamas will finalize it this week. Today, an Israeli government official here in Tel Aviv who wants to be anonymous told us the outlines of that deal. In phase one, Hamas would release 33 hostages made up of women, the elderly, the sick, and some children in exchange for a higher number of Palestinian detainees in Israeli prisons. As for Israel's military presence in Gaza, that official said that assets, which we're understanding to mean military assets, would remain in Gaza, and that the IDF would establish a security buffer zone between southern Gaza and Israel. And as for the people of Gaza, humanitarian aid, which we know is so desperately needed now, especially at the height of winter, would be surged. The latest number we have on the death toll is over 46,500 people. That just crossed the 46,000 mark only last week. Pushing ahead to phase two, talks on that would start during phase one, and with the goal of releasing younger hostages and Israeli soldiers. But first, of course, phase one has to be agreed. If it does, implementation could start this weekend, with hostages starting to be released. The last time that happened was more than a year ago, but a reminder, we have been here before many times. Talks could collapse at any minute. Many are cynical, but again, one more time, there is that feeling of hope, and that official says in large part because of the U.S. and the double backing of the outgoing Biden White House and the incoming Trump White House. Back to you.
Ramy Inocencio, thank you. CBS News national security contributor Sam Vinograd joins us now for some analysis. Sam, great to see you. So we've been reporting for months now of these stalled negotiations and that they could be on the horizon here. But I'm curious, what happened in Qatar to actually get to where we stand today?
Well, there certainly is a sense of deja vu as we hope that we're on a precipice of a ceasefire and hostage release negotiation. I think certain factors have materially changed. In the first instance, Bibi Netanyahu has had more time to try to accomplish his military objectives in Gaza. Previously, a sticking point has been Bibi Netanyahu insisting on the complete decimation of Hamas, while the U.S. administration has pointed out their view that he had accomplished his military objectives there. There was a difference there. Further, Hamas has been very focused on ensuring that Israel withdraws from some key strategic areas known as the Philadelphia corridor and some other buffer zones in parts of Gaza. Israel now seems to have backed off their insistence regarding those territories, likely again because Netanyahu feels that he's accomplished more of his military objectives. Netanyahu is under even more increased pressure domestically, and we do have the Trump factor here. I don't think that Prime Minister Netanyahu makes decisions solely based on what Donald Trump has to say, but Donald Trump has been pressuring Netanyahu both directly and through his Middle East envoy to be Steve Witkoff to make a deal. And, you know, the Middle East peace is one area that Biden and Netanyahu agree on. And so their two envoys, Brett McGurk and Steve Witkoff, have been working in very close concert to try to get this job done.
Yeah, it's really notable how well those teams have been working together. I mean, Steve Witkoff has, commended the Biden administration for how they're including them in these negotiations. You heard Ramy kind of lay out these three different stages of this plan. I'm wondering what your biggest takeaways are.
Well, if history is prologue, we know that phase one, hopefully we get to phase one and we see the release of 33 Israeli hostages, including women and children, as well as other male hostages at some juncture. But if we can just get to phase one, that is a major accomplishment, both in terms of the Israeli hostages and in terms of allowing more aid in. That is part of the phase one agreement. However, the last time we were here, we got through phase one and never got to a phase two. And so it is quite possible that we do see a hostage release, prisoner release, additional aid in for some period of weeks, and other conditions under phase one, but never get to a phase two. But even that would be an improvement upon where we are today, as the people of Gaza are starving and Israeli hostages have been in captivity for just far too long.
And since we seem to be closer to a deal than we ever have before, I'm wondering what kinds of things you're looking at that could derail this altogether.
Well, I think it is clear an important factor here on the Israeli side is that this is not a deal that President-elect Trump would pull back from once inaugurated on Monday. So the Israelis know that they would have both the Biden administration support and President-elect Trump support. What could derail this deal is if the ceasefire that is supposed to be in effect for 6 weeks in phase one is derailed by either Hamas or other terrorist group action against Israel during this 6 week period, or if Israel launches military incursions into Gaza, or if humanitarian assistance is not allowed in to the degree that Israel pledges it would. So there are a lot of factors that could throw this off, but importantly, in the very first days of this deal, we would already see hostages released in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. So even that would be an improvement from an Israeli perspective from where we are today. And hopefully more aid would get in very quickly as well to help the people of Gaza.
Yes, we are all hoping for some kind of deal to go through. Sam Vinograd, thank you as always for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.